mass funeral service of 21 teenagers who died at Enyobeni tavern in East London will get underway in Scenery Park this morning. Police yesterday told the Portfolio Committee on Women and Children that a stampede has now been ruled out as a cause of death. Malungelo Booi has been watching the story for quite some time. He's live to us now from Mdantsane, where, Malu, I understand the bodies of some of these young people are currently being kept. It must have been quite a logistically complex process to do this, especially when you think of how many bodies are involved here and what it will take to transport them to where this funeral service is going to unfold.
That's right, and what we know is that some of these teenagers, in fact, will be buried in various parts of the Eastern Cape. Today, as you rightfully indicated, it's only a mass funeral. We are in Mdantsane, and some of those who died, we understand, are also from this particular township. As you know, that they came from various communities around the Eastern Cape. I want to bring in Ellaine Gogo. She's one of the regional managers for Avbob here in the Eastern Cape. Thank you so much for your time, Ellaine. One of the things that, a lot of people would be asking in terms of logistics, we're talking here about what? 21 young teenagers who died. How do you begin to plan for that?
Oh, thank you so much. We began to plan for that on Monday. Because the death happened on a Sunday last week. So on Monday, we attended the service that was provided by the executive mayor in Scenery Park. Then it's then that we started to have contact with the families, and we offered to them the donation of the funeral, and they all welcomed that donation. And the package was at that moment 16,000. But later on, after we felt that we need to upgrade the service to 22,000, and then it was agreed, and the families were so keen to work with us. As a result, that all 21 children were removed and collected from all the aspects, like the other undertakers and then the other. The forensic department, because some were still at the forensic department. So we started to do the collections on Tuesday to Avbob. We brought them to Avbob.
All right. Ellaine, there's about what? Some of them have already been buried. Help me understand, when did that happen and what will be happening today?
Okay. The others that have been buried were buried yesterday. In fact, one was buried yesterday by our East London agency. And then one is buried right now by our Butterworth agency. Hence, we've got 19 coffins now, because we can't bring in 21 coffins only to find that we're still keeping 19 in our cooling facilities. So we're bringing only 19 coffins today to the mass funeral.
Is there one that's being buried tomorrow?
No, there will be two that is going to be buried after the mass funeral service today. One in Haven Hills and then another one in Mount Coke. Then we've got another two that will be buried tomorrow. We've got about 13 that will be buried on Saturday. 10 by Mdantsane agency, and then one by Tata agency, one by Butterworth, and then one by East London agency.
Talk to me, thank you so much. Talk to me then about why are we having coffins being sent to the mass funeral service? Whose decision was it?
Okay, it's the family's decision with the municipality. They gave us a confirmation of their discussion, because each and every time they were in contact, the municipality executive, the office of the executive deputy mayor has been in contact with the families, having those discussions. So we were getting all the outcome from the executive the deputy mayor.
And what was that? That they don't want their bodies to be at the
they've opted that the bodies should not go to the funeral mass service today. We must keep the bodies here. We must only send the coffins.
Was there a reason provided?
Sometimes it's due to weather conditions. We didn't know that it would be cold as it is cold today. We thought it would be sunny and maybe they will be exposed in the sun. So due to the fact that it was an accident, maybe some things would happen, we don't know. So the other families didn't like it to happen it that way. Since also the burial is not going to happen today for all of them. Yes.
Thank you so much, Ellaine Gogo. She works for Avbob. In fact, I think she's the provincial manager, right?
Yes.
All right, she's the provincial manager for Avbob here in the Eastern Cape. Thank you so much, Ellaine. Thank you so much for your time. But also, Ayanda, I think it is important to tell you this, that during my interaction with the Portfolio Committee on Women and Children and attending, one of their meetings with some of the stakeholders here, the committee did actually raise concerns to government officials here in the Eastern Cape about how the families were unhappy with how things were being arranged in terms of this mass funeral service. In fact, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee saying yesterday that some of these families felt that they were not being, given adequate information as to what in fact was happening regarding this mass burial, and communication just in total was not good. But the MEC for Community Safety here in the Eastern Cape denied that in fact they had not been communicating adequately with some of these families, essentially then saying that the claims that they as government in the Eastern Cape and people that were planning this mass funeral service have not been communicating with families is actually not true. But there's been so much, though, that's been happening, behind the scenes, and you could see that there is a little bit of discontent from some of the families.
Sure. Malungelo, Booi, thanks very much indeed for that. We're hoping at the very least that the families aren't left out in whatever's going to take place today, because that would just be another tragedy on top of what is already a devastating set of circumstances. Malungelo Booi is our reporter live to us there from Mdantsane, and again, what we now know is that it's just the caskets, as it were, that are going to be sent from Mdantsane to Scenery Park, and this is in line with the wishes of some of those families that are involved there who don't want the bodies of these victims to be at the mass funeral service later today.
Yeah, so 19 of those caskets will be at the mass funeral service. We're told that two of the teens have already been laid to rest.